Today I'm going to be talking about how social media can be a harmful place for young ones. So personally, I think this is a controversial topic to be talking about in some aspects because I do think that some parents think different than others. Like some parents will say their kid can have social media, but they'll have certain restrictions or certain limits, whereas some parents just don't want their kids to have it at all. So I think it just depends overall for everyone, but personally for me, I don't think children under the age of 15 should be having social media because of the kind of place it is. I think that it can be a very toxic place, very graphic. You can be exposed to lots of kind of things, and especially if you're on the more of like if you're using social media that's like very like it has access to everything, like Twitter, like where you can see literally anything. But yeah, now I'm sure there obviously are a lot of positive ways to use social media if it's obviously used correctly. Like a lot of people use it to create new friends, to share content, like share their lives, share their memories. A lot of people use it to have like their small businesses be known or to promote them, things like that, which is a great use of the apps, which a lot of people do. But I do think that that's just, obviously the positive ways, but the negative ways are there's a lot of negative stuff about it. But I do think if it's used correctly, it could be a great use of the apps. Now, one of my three reasons as to why social media is harmful for young kids is the bullying aspect, the cyberbullying, the whole sexual harassment, like that whole aspect. I feel like that just kind of like for young kids, like it can happen very easily, especially a lot of young kids can get influenced really easily. And a lot of the kids who get bullied are from the ages 10 to 14 online. And almost every 7 minutes, a child is being bullied online by an adult, which is very unfortunate. And obviously, as like a 10-year-old or 11-year-old up to like 14, that's a very like just something that they don't need around them, and it's not necessary. I feel like hearing hearing those things that are being said about you, or people talking about you in a certain way, like at that young of an age, it's very hard to deal with, and you're still like maturing and learning things, and it's just hard as a young person, yeah, pretty much at a young age to hear those things. So I do think that that's like another reason of it. And also, about 40% of Americans have been sexually harassed online in any kind of way. Um, uh, so yeah, that's one aspect of it. And then another one is now obviously we know why the apps are like what things are about these apps. But I do think that what are the apps that make it bad? Like I'm kind of explaining it bad, but what makes the apps bad is basically what I'm trying to explain. Like for instance, certain apps like compare TikTok to Twitter. We understand why TikTok is a little bit better than Twitter because Twitter has access to everything, whereas TikTok has more restrictions. And you can kind of keep track of what you're watching or what your kid is watching, things like that. I do think that for kids under the age of 15, if they would really want it, I think TikTok would be a better source just because it's more like you can kind of like restrict and limit things. That's why I feel like it's a little bit better. But I think Twitter should be for people under the age of 18 or over the age of 18. And for people who want TikTok, I think you have to at least be like 14, 15 years old to have that. Or not even 14, but maybe 15, 16, like around there. I do think that's kind of crazy to say because everyone in the world has it now. And I know it's not easy to not have it, but maybe at least like kind of being limited to certain things, that would be at least good. Now, the last part is the whole mental health and behavioral aspect of it. Now, obviously, social media, as we all know, can affect your mental health a lot by, like, just scrolling through Instagram. You see certain things and you'll start to get insecure or you'll have low self-esteem and you'll start to lose your confidence, things like that. I think that can really hurt kids at a young age. Like, for kids, like, that young at 10 or 11 to be scrolling through, like, Instagram or TikTok and seeing those things and thinking those thoughts, that's just a really sad thing to like. That's just a sad concept for a young kid to be worrying about that kind of thing at that age. And I just think it takes off like it just kind of like I don't know. I just feel like it's just not perfect for them, and it's just like they're so young to be exposed to that kind of thing. And they can also like start to develop problems. They can start to get less sleep, be sleep deprived, have an eating disorder, just things like that, and which obviously is not good at that age. But yeah, so it can just take a big toll on your mental health, and it's just for young ones just overall very harmful. Now I know it's not easy for like kids to not have it, because if everyone around you is having it, obviously you're going to want to have it. But I do think as parents that we should be looking out for the young ones and maybe teaching them as to why they can't have it and why it's just not necessary for them. Or if they do want to have it, then you can just kind of see what they're doing, kind of restrict certain things and have limits. But yeah, overall, I think that it's just something that isn't very necessary for them. And I just feel like for their mental state and everything, it's just not good. But yeah, overall, that's my opinion. Thank you all for listening.